I'm all of Nathan Bassard, not just the top half. Welcome to Would You Like Your Receipt? Would You Believe? The world's first and only podcast about the Hollies. And welcome to this, episode of 4, is it? Would Thou Believe? The actual album, Would You Believe? Which I left over there, I'll show you in a second. Hollies' 4th album and the final album with original bass player and founder, Stockport's Eric John Haddock. He changed his name to Haydock. Eric Haddock. He changed his name to Haydock. Here is my original copy of Would You Believe. This is how I first heard it. Again, the Digipack mono stereo on one mix thing. This I probably got from HMV. Either Oxford Street or Manchester, just off Deansgate, those of you who know it. We don't live in a world where the Hollies are sort of talked about and dissected like the Beatles are and rated as highly. I'm often say this on the podcast, and if we did, if that was the case, then I think Would You Believe would be their Beatles for Sale. You understand what I mean? Does that make sense? The Hollies equivalent to Beatles for Sale. Beatles for Sale is an album that Beatles fans, they all slag it off, all of them. You know, it's like a sheep mentality thing. And I love that album and I defend it. So it's the same with Would You Believe? I see people's point. It's not one that jumps out. It's not one that's, listed and remembered. It's not one that people cite often. But I think there's a lot about it to defend. I'm going to start with some things I forgot last episode. And I've written some notes here. I think the first one was Shake by Sam Cooke. I better check that, if it was. Just while I'm looking for it. If it's not, I'll just say. For some reason, I just put here Shake by Sam Cooke, and I can't remember why. There is a chance that I forgot to mention this. There is a BBC version of that song. Well, there are two. There's one in the studio and there's a live one where at the end they go, ah, and you can hear they go, Tony, Tony! A bit like, well, I'll come to the next point. Remember that, Tony! Yeah, Shake by Sam Cooke, that's all I've put. Number 2, Tony sings a lead in Look Through Any Window. Did I not mention that? Did I? The biggest thing in the world, Tony Hicks sings a lead vocal. You can see the little children all around. That bit. Why isn't this I swear this is working. Yeah, it is. You can see the little children all around. And when you go and see them in concert these days, he changes it. He goes, you can see the little children all around. Brilliant vocal. And I love footage of that song. I also said that they did 2 songs on Palladium. They did not. They only did 1, and the Search did 2. So that was another thing I noticed. Oh, I'm out of breath. Graham Hollies guitar. So Graham Nash still had the acoustic Epiphone guitar, which he had a plastic sign made in Manchester. He told me that's where he got it made. And Hollies on it. And I just thought that seems a bit late for them to still have that, but he's playing it in that footage. The I'm Alive footage also having Look Through Any Window. Yeah, so I mentioned the footage of them in like Eastern Europe somewhere. They've got thousands of microphones and they're all sweating, they're playing live, but the audio is the studio version. And that's used as a video to I'm Alive. Well, they also do Look Through Any Window in that session as well. So I'd love to hear live audio of that. The tour bus interview, Alan says window. What do I mean by that? This is me trying to remember my past self. Oh yeah, so I'm trying to talk about all their footage. And I forgot to mention there is an interview of them on a tour bus. And Tony or Alan says, oh, we've made 9 singles or something. And I'm trying to work, when do they make this? And oh, right. And Alan says, our latest record is Look Through Any Window. Graham interview June 64. Yeah, there's also an interview of Graham, still with the quiff. He's wearing the shirt that they wore round about the time of Here I Go Again, the sort of checkered thing and the thin tie, that massive, massive, massive quiff. And there he is being interviewed. Eric is also in the tour bus footage as well, so it's great to see footage of him being interviewed from the time he was still in the Hollies. Yeah, that's all of the things I've forgotten in previous episodes. I need to be as up to date as I can. Just going to have a sip of this brand name coffee. Thanks, Leon. No, I didn't say that. A very recent acquisition. I really love this. I got recently. Really nice. There's a famous photo session. This is like an outtake from that. You know, they're all being silly and goofing around. And I always thought, if you look at Graham Nash, it's got a mop top. So I always thought this was later. The 5 of them have all, of course, signed it. Bobby in blue, the rest in black pen. Eric's still doing Eric J. And it turns out this is actually from '64. Alan is the shirt I mentioned. You know, Here I Go Again. Graham wearing in that interview. Alan's wearing it too. So this could be from 1964. Maybe Graham Nash one day felt like having a Beatles haircut and then decided to go back to quiffs again for late 1964, and then went back to mop tops for 1965, I guess. Fans, let's talk about this. I didn't really want to bring this up because I'm sort of pacing this, and I haven't really worked out. It needs to be brought up. It's the reason I'm doing this. There are some nice people who I've met, in the comments section of this podcast I'm doing, and I don't know these guys from the Facebook groups. Well, I'll talk about the Facebook, or a thing called Elevated Observations. Speaking of the Facebook groups, this like Tony and screaming and that, most of the Hollies, again, they're underrated, but there are fan pages dedicated to them, but most of it is just people calling it wrong. Oh yeah, I saw the Hollies, like Hollies, great group. That's all they put. Hollies, great group. Hollies, or oh Alan, you're so hunkalicious, or oh Tony, swoon, and it's just embarrassing, you know. It's just embarrassing. And so a friend of mine, who she's a woman, I don't want to slag women off, but she does. She does it because she says, well, she makes me look bad, you know. So I'm trying to say it through her perspective, and she started this group of just a few of us called Elevated Observations, which is a song of their Butterfly album, and it's also a good pun because it means, you know, we're better than just going, wow, Alan spelt with one L and whatever, and you know, we're not just you know, we talk about Die Hard, like the B-sides and all kind of dates. Oh, what date is this photo from and stuff like that. Stuff like this podcast basically, and then I don't know what happened. It like ended or the domain ran out or something, and then someone else stole the name of her and created their own Elevated Observations. But you know, water under the bridge, and that became the go-to thing for Die Hard fans. And I haven't been plugging this on there, and I've not been there for a while because well, one person who I don't know meant well, and she went on there and went, hey, there's this guy, he's a member of this page, he's doing a Hollies podcast, and there are 2 members of this group. I don't even need to finish the sentence. I know people are watching this right now going, oh yeah, I know who he's going to... And they are just so negative. These 2 guys, I don't know if they know each other or what, you know, they're just, everything they do and say is like mean-spirited, negative, just really depressing, and do you guys even like the Hollies? And if you go and look on there now, it's either a graveyard, like people don't post there at all, or you just see deleted. People are leaving this Elevated Observation things because of these 2 morons. And admin, whoever admin is, are doing absolutely piss all about it. And the reason it's so upsetting is because let's look at the levels. You've got Beatles, Beach Boys, and then Hollies. Beatles are massive, they've got millions and millions and millions of fans. There are overwhelmingly poisonous and toxic Beatles fans. Horrible, just nasty, you know, I don't even want to mention them in this. I don't even want to be associated with them. But there are so many millions that you can escape from them. You can form your own Beatles. There are millions of really nice Beatles fans as well. Monkeys fans, no problem whatsoever. All of them are nice. I've never met a jerk fan of the Monkeys. Monkeys brilliant. Beach Boys is weird because there are far more Beach Boys fans than Hollies fans, but far fewer Beach Boys fans. I really hope the sounds come out. I should probably check them. Far fewer Beach Boys fans than, yeah, it looks like it is. Well, yeah, it is, I'm sure. Yeah, it's still recording. Far fewer Beach Boys fans than Beatles fans. So most of them are overwhelmingly just dickheads, jerks, assholes, and I can't stand them. I've written a song about them. I hate Beach Boys fans so much. I'm friends with the few good ones, and we just message each other. But you expect that. But the point I'm trying to make is with Hollies fans, even if it's only 2 of them, because there are so few, I can count probably less than 10 proper die-hard Hollies fans who rate them as much as Beatles, who know all the catalogue numbers, who can date all the photos and collect all the outtakes and notice all the different mixes and that. Honestly, less than 10. Really, it's not many at all. So when 2 of them turn out to be complete and utter bread buffers, then it is overwhelmingly upsetting. It's really, so I've not been back on. Is that me doing that? Oh, you can hear the other band in the other room. A bit like If I Needed Someone, isn't it? If I Needed Someone, at the end of that, you can hear another band in another studio. It's really, so yeah, and it's just upsetting. So I've not been back on elevated observations. The reason I'm saying that, mentioning this at all, is because there have been, I've had such a great response to this thing I'm doing here, and I just want to say thanks to you all. So, and these people are fans who somehow have stumbled upon this, and they're not, as far as I know, they're not on elevated observations, and they're not on the Facebook pages either. Obviously, Matthew Vinyl, hi Matthew Vinyl, is a guy who I watched and I commented on his, I'm glad he watched his. Steve, Beach Boys Basement Steve Lewis, you know about toxic Beach Boys fans. He's done a video defending my club. It's one of the best things I've ever seen in my life. But that's a whole other thing. Steve, thanks for tuning in on this, and thanks for all your work. That is amazing. Is it Psychedelic Peter? I'm trying to find, I'm going to get out the comments of the last one. There's a few, yeah, that's me from Without a Beard in episode 3. Monasterio. Thank you, Monasterio. Oh, he's what? Is he who I'm going to mention? Who's the one who asked about Psychedelic Peter? Thanks for your kind words as well. Matthew Vinyl, yeah, I mentioned him. Right. Being for the benefit of the Beatles has also left some great comments. Thanks loads. Gary, Gary is watching this. But Gary, I know who Gary is. That's fine. I'll see him on the 89 bus. He'll know what that means. MWMYT. Now you're who I'm gonna. Okay, you're probably gonna be my top favourite. MM Monasterio has said some great things. Hi to you and thanks. I hope I'm pronouncing these right. All the autograph stuff. Thanks for your kind words. So then, Mr. Well, it might not be Mr. But I'll say MWMYT. It was definitely you who asked about this. Just check. Oh, maybe it wasn't. Well, you must forgive me, but whoever it was who asked about Hollies boxed sets, this is for you, all right? I said I would in the comments show you these in the next video, and I'm going to do it now. Parlogram did a video about the mono Beatles sort of CD things where they replicate the old albums and that, and he goes, it's a shame there isn't one for the Hollies. Buy my overpriced stuff. I'll ignore your comments. No, I joke, he's all right. But, well, I've got 4 that will refute that. I mean, here's one of them right here. So that's the first one. This is from 2004. It's the 40th anniversary of beat music, they're calling, and they've all got Japanese strips. And they've chosen Evolution. They're the UK, and there's the US version, which has the word Carry On it, featuring Carry On. They've got the font there, the Evolution font. This, I think, is from Butterfly. That's from Butterfly, isn't it? And the detail, they've got sort of the superimposed Evolution stuff as the detail. Open it up. Let's see if I can do something clever. I have that there, and that's not going to work, is it? Might do. Well, you've seen it. And these are brilliant. Some nice sort of collage. Is it a montage? No, contact. I can't even. Collage. Nice collage there of Hollies through the years. And I'm just going to take one out as an example. So this goes from Stay With The Hollies up to Hollies Sing Dylan. And then they also include a thing called Japanese The Best of the Hollies, which tidies up all the singles and things. I mean, they do have bonus tracks on. I think they had mono and stereo. And I'll just show you one as an example. I should probably show you for certain because look how great Evolution looks with the pink stuff on it. But, would you believe, obviously, it's this album. But just show you the detail, right? There's a thing called an OB strip. I don't know if it's called OB or OBI, if it stands for something. So, open up the plastisher. This is dead exciting. These are brilliant. It's a shame to... And look at the detail. It's just they're miniature versions. You can see the gloss, the laminate of the, and they come on like words in Japanese writing and things. The opener, just the thing you can put. Can you see the flaps there? You can see the thing goes inside, and it's got the parlophone label. I don't want to get them out too much because I don't want to cause. What the hell? What? Someone's written on it. What? Best wishes, Bernie Calvert. Thanks for writing on this. Oh, great. That's gone and devalued it, hasn't it? That's the joke. I mean, should I get onto that now or should I get onto that later? I'll show you the rest of the box sets, then I was doing a joke, but I'll get onto that. Next, they've got two here, two with the parlophone labels on them. Box things there, gorgeous things. I have divided this. They're out a bit. They don't quite fit. I've put the Nash albums in one and the Sylvester albums in the other. It goes up to Romany. It starts from state and it has the best. Oh, this is amazing, right? What this comes with their version of Hollies Greatest. They got. I don't really want to get all these. Hollies Greatest 1 and Hollies Greatest 2. The sepia front cover. That looks like. Do you remember Sons and Daughters? Do you remember? Do you remember that? It looks like that, doesn't it? Absolutely amazing. They come with 2 discs. They've used the other side of the Hollies for that. It's upside down. What have they done for Hollies 2? Where is Hollies 2 first of all? Maybe I'll answer that. And this thing called, I can't remember what it's called. That one, where Graham Nash writes to Steve No, that American one, with that, for certain Henry Dilt's outtake photos on the cover. These are brilliant. So these are 2014. So that was the 50th anniversary. That was the 40th, and these are the 50th. Is that right? Yeah. Absolutely brilliant. And again, attention to detail. The latest series is slightly better. So that's 3 of those. I can say 2 of those. And this is kind of. The box is unofficial. A seller makes them in China, unofficial. But they used Hollies. They put these fake things on the back. They got Hollies, but with sort of the orange, the Please Please Me parlophone logo on them, which Hollies albums never had. On the back, they've got the picture of them inside the studio, same thing on that side. And I have decided this box it's just there for, it's not an official product, but inside is, and a company called Old Days makes, look at these, the American versions of Hollies albums. And they've recently brought out Dear Eloise King Midas. The only one missing is Stop, 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 which they haven't released yet. They might do that. There's Evolution there, Bus Stop, B Group, and Here. They're all here. Absolutely brilliant. Old Days they're called, and they have a couple of bonus tracks on them. The American versions of Hollies albums on Japanese miniature CD. So that's those. I hope that explains it. You can get them on like Discogs. There's a Greek seller who has the whole boxes of them, and he's a good seller. I've got one signed of him. Or you can get them individually. You can look. You search. You will find them. Search. And you'll find them. I don't need to say how much they are or where they are or anything. They're available, I'll put it that way. A bit of that, and a bit of this. Would you believe then? The only album, no, whoa. Not the only album from 1966. I don't know why I was going to say that. An absolutely brilliant, here it is. It's an LP copy of it. It starts with the brilliant I Take What I Want. I did some of it just then. My friend Andrew, hello Andrew, he's going to host the Romany album when I get to do that album. He loves the tone, and I always did too. When we met, he goes, the tone on Tony Hicks's guitar for that song is amazing. Oh, I forgot to bring it. I was going to bring them. I've got a variatone switch, which Tony has on his, and I want to have a 335 major. I'm going to have that put on it. I don't know how he gets that tone. It's the only Hollies record that has it on there. He never used it before, nor since. It's an amazing tone, that. I love that. Porter, Hodges, Hayes. So it's a Sam and Dave song, isn't it? I never knew it before the Hollies did it. And Hayes, I'm assuming is Isaac Hayes. I hope so. Who was also the voice of Chef in South Park. Hilarious. What a great song. I mean, Hollies, they picked a really unlikely thing, and they don't get the credit for being soul. Did I mention them being into soul music? I may have dabbled with that earlier, but I haven't really properly talked about it, because after Eric left the group, he formed a kind of R&B, like soul group called Haydox. Well, they're called Rock House, but really they were like a soul group. They were into Tamla and Northern Soul and things like that. I don't know if they did this on purpose. I mentioned the third album. They broke their run of opening albums with a really big energy, you know, show-stopping kind of, wow, what is this? And I think it's them returning to that. The next song, Hard Hard Year. Oh my God, what? The solo, there is this heavy metal, distorted to hell guitar solo on that song. I'm telling you, that is the first one ever. Does Tony Hicks ever get credit for that? No. Listen to it, I'm not going to even try and play it. I was going to bring my fuzz pedal and try and learn it. I didn't have time, but Hard Hard Year, that song's called. It's one of the first, no, it's the first Ransford song on this album. So 1966, but they're still being billed as Ransford. They're still being credited as Ransford. That's How Strong My Love Is. That is brilliant song. Have you heard the Creations version of that, the video version now? But no, this is such a great song. I don't think I do this. I don't do this in my show. And, what I don't song. Alan's vocal on that, oh my lord, it's amazing. What does he say? He does it on his slide, doesn't he? I've never tried to play this, so I'm just going from memory. It's like a... And how does he do that? He's all the way up here, isn't he? You can hear it's quite high up. Now, are they still doing the Graham not plugging his guitar in thing? I think he still went on. I take what I want. When turning. See, it's cut out again. Sorry about this. I'm sure there's another guitar going. So that might be Graham doing that, or maybe Tony's overdubbed it. I will get to Graham in a second playing electric guitar because well, I'll get to it. What was I going to get? Okay, so I made a quip about, oh look, Bernie Calvert's written over my Japanese copy of Butterfly. Let's talk about the autographs a second, alright? I'm not going to name names. It's a record shop. It's a part of England where the inhabitants speak like people from Barbados. And Justin Lee Collins comes from there. That's all I'm saying. And it's also rhyming slang for, well, I'm not going to name names. Oh, it's also the stomp. The stomp. That place, and it's in the southwest of England. Lovely place I love going to. But yeah, no, I went to a record shop there, and their best one, their most famous one, the biggest one. The guy was having a bit of a go at me about autographs and stuff, and it's like, is it really his place to do that? I mean, fair play to him for being honest. I mean, there's a lot of, shysters out there. Shysters, is that a... No one says shysters anymore. It's like let's bring back the word shyster. There's a lot of shysters out there who will say anything to just rip you off and get your money and that. And at least he was being honest. But no, I was buying some Searchers EPs because I was on my way to see Mike Pender, Frank Allen and John McNally. The idea of them to sign them. But these were like mint condition things. And it was like, oh no, I hate that. I hate people. I can see people's points sometimes regarding this. But they weren't like the Mona Lisa. They were Searchers EPs, man. Look, who's going to know this? It's like the Searchers are even more underrated than the Hollies. I mean, who's going to care enough to... And it's just me. I'm not going to try and sell it. It goes, it devalues it, it devalues it. Nah, man. For me, it's to have original guys who are still alive, for one thing, let alone to actually get to stand this close to them, meet them and have them sign it. It's unbelievable. You'll never get that with like Rolling Stones or The Who or The Beatles or Queen or anyone, but Hollies, Surters, Jerry when he was alive, members of Freddie and the Dreamers when they were, all those, you could just bump into them in pubs or whatever, Dave D as well, and Beaky, the original Beaky and thing. Maybe Dave D himself was probably a bit more famous, but he, Carl Wayne was another. Carl Wayne from the move, who I regret never getting to see. You could just go up to these guys, and you know what I mean. And there's this story. I probably think it's not true now. I don't know if it is true or not, but let's say it is for the sake of this argument. This story that there was an American talk show, and the host had a copy of the White Album, but a really rare one, a really early one with a really low serial number on it. And he had as a guest Julian Lennon, and he went, "Julian, will you sign this for me?" And Julian went, "Yeah." Now, I don't know if this is true or not, but if it is, then yeah, that I am completely on the same page as this guy. I am dead against that. That is completely ruining and defacing. Julian has nothing to do. Well, the song "Good Night" is about him, and he inspired "Hey Jude," which was from those sessions. It's not on that album, but even still, it's not John Lennon. It's not at the time. I liked them at the time to sign it, or in my case, they were. But yeah, and Leah, and the host should never have asked him that. But Julian also, God, this is half an hour in already. Julian also should never have agreed to it. But I don't know if the story's true or not. But just saying that this stuff I have, so there was probably more I was going to say on the topic, but I kind of said enough. You kind of get the idea. Just show another signed piece. Now I'll finish this album and then I'll go on to the next bits. I know quickly actually. Here's some American albums, both signed by Grainy and Nash. This is Beat Group has got some songs from Would You Believe on it. These are the American equivalents of Would You Believe. It never came out over there, but some songs came out on this, and some songs came out on Bus Stop. Again, Graham has signed that. These are great things to have in my collection. I love these. Are they mono or stereo? Also available in stereo. Okay, this one's in mono. Oh, this one is too. They're both the mono versions. Fantastic. What's the next song? That's our song. Right, Sweet Little 16, the Chuck Berry cover song. I do see people's point, okay, and I agree with you. I mean, the Beatles have just made Revolver. The Beach Boys have just made Pet Sounds. Mrs. Mills has just made, no, but you know what I'm saying? And here are the Hollies they're doing Sweet Little 16. I mean, that is a little bit, come on guys. I mean, maybe they recorded it a year earlier. In fact, they probably did. I should really check that date. I've got the dates thing to check as I was doing this, but I'm doing the album first, and then I'll check that afterwards. But even still, even 65 is quite late to still be doing that. When did they record that? Hi Claire, take what I want. Fifi the Flea, we'll get to that. Oh wait, so the French version of We're Through was 1966, was it? And you know he did Look Through Any Window. Did I covered Look Through Any Window in the last one, but did I cover these French versions? I can't let go. So that was before the album. I should probably talk about that then. I didn't realise it's before the album. Right, I can't see it. I'm looking and I can't see it. Number 7. No man, 25th of March 1966. To still be recording Sweet Little 16. I think Spencer and I talked about that record producer we worked with who said, oh, the Hollies, are they kind of flash, aren't they? And I say, no, they're not. They're brilliant. But perhaps, again, I'm not here to slag anything off, but I'm also not here to just blindly say, oh, look, there's a left-handed jump kit in here that my friend was in here before me. He's probably got a point on that song there. I said it's not one I listen to often, I must admit, but that's not to slag it off. I'm glad it exists. This album, I love the blue on this. When you're flipping through racks, you know that they've got Would You Believe, or it's not one I pull off my shelf often, my CD of it, but I listen to it now more now than I used to, and I love the thing. It's one I now really, really love. Right, I've just seen what the next song is now. We live in this culture now where people are sort of going back to this and saying, oh, is this allowed? Is this banned? Is this... It's called I'm going to stand like this, with this blocking this. It's called sadness. I mean, can I say the word? I mean, you can say. I mean, I happen to be part myself. I'm part, so maybe I can just say it. Sadness. And it even starts off with. Oh, I can't even. It starts off with. I'm going to go. I don't want to be footage of me saying this. I'm going off camera. It starts off with a. I can't believe it. You're like, oh my God. And they're northern stand-up comedians as well. They come from the same place where Bernard Manning comes from. And you're going, oh no, not the Hollies. Not the Hollies, please. Not the Hollies. Oh my God. And then there's a boom. There's a gong in it. You think, oh my God, no. However, please just listen to the song. Like, don't look at the title. Don't just listen to the beginning. Listen to it. It is a really, really interesting song. I'm not going to try and play it, but goddamn, man, how do you even think of songs like that? There's a compilation of things that I'm trying to compile, and one of them is Raven by the Four Seasons. Just weird songs where someone goes into the other band members and goes, oh, guys, I've got this idea for a song. It's like, in a Raven, and thought, whoa, what is this? Canyons of cold grey concrete, Raven! I'm thinking, how do you, and sadness is also one of these. It's like, where do you come up with a, how something starts to something, dum dum dum, soon she will tender, ba 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 ba, da 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 da. You never trust in anybody no more. It's great. And then Graham does his thing. You know, Alan Clark sings a song. Graham sings a bit like, how can you think that I won't sacrifice or lay it down for her? That bit. Whoa, man! The chords in that thing. Amazing. Brilliant. Really interesting song. So, it's called Sadness. It starts off with a, I'm not even, you know, and a, but get past that and you will be rewarded. It is an amazing, really unusual and interesting song. Unlike anything from the time. And the fact that it comes right after Sweet Little 16. Now, coming up next, bang up today, a cover of I Am a Rock, the Simon and Garfunkel song. Paul Simon wrote that. That ends side, oh my God. I've just seen what the next song is. Oh, I'm going to rush through this because I've just seen what the next song is. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm a Rock, brilliant. Simon and Garfunkel, love them. Can't fault them. Can't say anything bad about them. Both still alive. Blessings. I'm a Rock. A song, a friend of mine said it's about autistic people. I mean, it could be. Right. Flip the disc over. Lift the needle. Side 2. Oh my God, the next song. Oh no, I've ruined it. It was bloody crackling. Why did I bother with this? Take your time. I can't wait. All of the love I know will be mine. If you take your time. I love my God. What? Their version of Take Your Time by Buddy Holly, they've slowed it right down. They're doing it in the style of the Byrds, and they don't get credit for this. It doesn't get played on gold radio or anything. It doesn't get rated, and it is magnificent. And there's no footage of them talking about it, or no one's asked them in interviews. I don't think they do the song in current set lists. They probably didn't do it then either. I mean, it is brilliant. Their version of it is the... So if Tony's here... He must be using a capo to do that. Maybe not, but maybe... That bit. That bit. Maybe he's not using a capo because he's able to go... Take your time, I take my time. this song so much. Oh my God. All of the love I know will be mine if you take your time. Then some kind of ending like that, or maybe, whoa man, their version of that is incredible. Buddy Holly, take your time. I think Norman Petty's wife plays the organ on the original of that. Ballard Jr., the same guy who wrote I'm Alive, wrote the next one, Don't You Even Care What's Gonna Happen to Me. That's another brilliant song. Again, a weird thing I'd never heard of. The Hollies found, covered it, and is it Leslie Uggams? Leslie Uggams who did the original, was it? The American version. Let's do a bit of that. I love that song too. It's Alan's. And that middle, are they saying goo yeah? It sounds like they're saying, what's goo yeah? But that thing, no, what key is it in? It sounds like it's in E. I'm just going from memory, really. Doesn't it? Free. How can you let it in? I wanna be your lifetime man, but you wanna be my friend. I love that. And Graham's, don't you, hang on, don't you even care? Fuck, don't you even care what's gonna happen to me? That bit is amazing. How Graham can, now here's me, I can breathe and do exercises and strain to do that and get into it. Graham just talks like that me. I mean, the way he can just do that, with his eyes open and like I'm talking now, amazing. How do I spend my day? Is that how it goes? What do I do each night? I could go on alone. Somehow it don't seem right. Oh my God, man. I love that song so much. And this is on this album, you know what I mean? Absolutely brilliant. And the goo here. Fifi the Flea, man, that's not one I spin often or listen to, or not one of my favourites, but give it credit, man. Give it credit for being. Who writes a love song about a flea in a circus? What? Does she fall in love with another flea? Does she fall in love with a dog? Or does she fall in love with like a fully sized human who trains her? I mean, but you know, fair play. Like, no one is writing songs of that. It's a Graham Nash solo. I think by now Hollies albums would have one per album, maybe a B-side or two here and there, where Graham Nash would sing the lead. I don't think any Hollies are on this. Let's think. And that is it in G minor? Is that how it goes? I literally never played this in my life. It sounds like it's going. Can you hear that? That thing, G minor. It's a nice piece that I love that. I could use that. Anyway, I do play that over and over again and not tune the guitar. This guitar's not really in tune. It's got this original part on it, you see, which is making it go out of tune. Can you see that? It's not a Bigsby, it's a version of it, but I don't want to replace it. I want to keep this all original. That said, I do want to put different ones of these on, but the old 1960 ones that John Lennon had on his one before they fell off. Yeah, it's nice that, isn't it? Japanese, diddle. Is Graham Nash playing the guitar on that song? Because it's quite an intricate part, and it's credited to the three of them. So Tony could be doing that. I'm going to do it again. I love it. Tony could be doing that, but it could be Graham. Is Stu Ball next, or It is, yeah. And so so this is shoe ball. You knew I was going to do that. Look, my thing broke. You knew I was going to do that. And so this is, you know, I mean, John admitted he got the melody from that. Peter, Paul and Mary song. And they kept this song in the set list, not only up until 1968, but even up until Terry Sylvester joined in the group. I love Stu Ball, I don't mind it at all. I love it, I listen to it, I watch footage of it. Is this the one I was going to talk about? Footage. And saying we have more footage of this song than now. I think that was very last day, wasn't it? I think I did that last episode. Alright, forget that thought. Great version of Stu Ball, Feet of the Stu Ball. I Got Away on My Own. Now they're taking a 1965 song and they're putting it on this album. It could be, well, I used to think it was to fill it out, but as you're going to find out, they had other unreleased songs from 1966 that could have gone on this. I don't know why they took the B-side of their flop single, If I Needed Someone, which was I've Got a Way of My Own, and put it on this album. I don't know, why did they do that? Don't know! That's what I go, you'll do it, you've seen me do this before. Don't know! Don't know why was the 1965 B-side resurrected and put on this album. Don't know! There. That's all I'll say about that, but I love it. Where Alan Clark's harp on it, the vocal on it. I love the footage of them lining with Bernie Calvert. He hasn't joined the band yet. He's just filling in because they think Eric Haydock's going to come back. And they are having such a laugh, the five of them. It's like, well, Bernie, man, he's the guy, man. I don't want to get too much into Bernie versus Eric. There's a lot of passionate people who... But that's enough about Thursday. No, there's a lot of passionate Hollies fans who would say, oh, Eric is this, Bernie is this. There's place for them both. I'll have them both equally. But Bernie really, that footage of them, and they're all in it together and they're all swaying like this and they cannot stop laughing. Bernie was just right in that band, man. And Bernie joined in the 60s and left in the 80s. I mean, what should I get on to now? I can't. So we're on to the last track of the album. So it is I Can't Let Go. Now, have I broken this? I was going to play some of this, but I don't know if I can now. I mean, what have I done with it? Look at this. One of my favourite songs they ever did. Now, did Chip Taylor write this? Chip Taylor and Gorgoni. Chip Taylor also wrote The Baby, which was their breakfast song. So when you hear, oh yeah, there he is, Tony Hicks chugging away, palm muting and chugging. That's what you think. But it's not true, it's Eric Haydock. On a bass, some people you're probably already going, oh, he's wrong. No, I was getting to it. Boys, or maybe there's females watching this. Yeah, there are. Laura, Chrissy, how's it going? And so Eric would be here, wouldn't he? And he's going, except on a bass. Weirdly, I just had this thought today on the way here, and that is that later Eric Haydock bass lines had not the style, but the tone and the sound of Bernie Calvert bass lines. They had this twangy bass sound to them, like John also had, or like The Move had, or like most of the Bernie Calvert bass lines had. So it was already going that way. So I wonder if Bernie Calvert already played with that kind of EQ, or if he just heard what Eric Haydock was doing, was starting to pioneer, and then joined the band and then copied it. But anyway. Oh, I try, but I can't say goodbye. Feel so bad, baby. Oh, it hurts me when I think about your love that deserted me, and the broken heart it's on, baby. So out of breath. How do the Hollies do that? You know, for most of my life I thought he was going, I've got a heavy load. Got a heavy load. But no, he's going, I've got to have you, you know. I gotta have you, you know. In a Salford accent. No, I can't let go. I love that. Listen. That D he's playing there, a tone. No, hang on. It's a G, isn't it? It's a G. What is Grainy here going? Can I go, baby? I'm hung on you, baby. I can't go, you. Sometimes I can do it. I can't do it today in here, but is it, I'm hung on you. I'm sure he's saying, people think he's saying, I want you, baby. I think he's saying, I'm hung on you, baby. And wasn't there a coast shop in Carnaby Street also called Hung on You? I'm sure that expression existed as early as 1966. I'm sure it did. And that, hey, baby. Now he's doing that in his, I'm doing that in falsetto. Hey, baby. But he's doing it in, hey, baby. You know what I mean? He's doing it in normal voice, man. Great song. I can't go. You all know this. I just repeat. You know that Paul McCartney, the famous, he heard that song and he thought it was a trumpet going. You know, but no, it's Graham Nash going. Hey, is it saying baby please or hey baby? He might be going baby please. I go hey baby. I love that song so much. To have seen Alan standing there and Graham standing and them doing that, I wish I saw that, man. There is footage of this. They do this song. There's a couple of clips of it. It's great. All right. Quickly talk about my autographed copy of this album. Actually, let's talk about that. Come on. Let's put this in the stand. Let's put this pic here. Can't find the other one. A very, very good friend of mine who wanted to remain anonymous, but great guy. I'm so glad I met him. This is his copy of it. It's signed by 4 members of the Hollies. Alan Clark, Tony Hicks, Bobby Elliott, and Bernie Calvert. And then I got it. He gave me this record, and I went to see Graham Nash to complete the set. So, but wait, I hear you say, Eric Haydock is on the front cover. Oh, quickly talk about the front cover. I don't know, fans slag this off, I don't know. I love this front cover. I love the blue. I love the font. It's the same as Hollies 65. The drawing, I tell you why I like this, it reminds me of Mad Magazine. Remember, is it Al Jaffe and not Sergio? Who was the one who did this kind of serious kind of caricatures, but like they look realistic and this kind of style. It just reminded me of Mad Magazine and the pencil look. And I tried to find out Jennifer Sibley. Front cover designed and drawn by Jennifer Sibley. Now I have tried to Google Jennifer Sibley. I couldn't find her at all. Hollies giving female artists, exposure. I mean, they were so full. There's lots of stories about that, like Hollies not being like, yeah, they're men and they're from the north and they're from the 60s and this and that and that and this. But also give them credit for whoever Jennifer Sibley was, and sadly, all I could find on Google was an obituary, and it did look like it was someone who was an artist, and it was also someone who got to around the age of 80, early 80s, was it mid 80s? So that could have been the Jennifer Sibley. If it is, my condolences. I'm sorry for your family's loss, and if it's not, I'm still sorry to hear about that. But maybe Jennifer Sibley. She might be married name now, might have a different name now, maybe she's still around somewhere and still drawing, but no idea. Ready? You ready? You got your arms ready? You got the stance? You ready? Don't know! Don't know! But I tried, and I mentioned her in this episode, and I'm glad I did. Jennifer Sibley, I love this. I wonder if there's other outtakes of it, or if they stood for it. The only thing, right, it says about Eric Haydock, so it's got a write-up. The write-up is Andy Wickham. Andy Wickham did the write-up of this. He's like someone famous or other, but he might be a sort of pop journalist or radio DJ or something. But anyway, they've got paragraph, all the other Hollies. And it does mention Graham. It says, is this the album where it says he used to have his hair like Elvis Presley, now he has it like Graham Nash? Yeah, this is the album where it says that. So it mentions the haircuts. Change it. Eric Haydock gets 6 words. He gets Eric is something of an enigma. That is all Eric Haydock gets mentioned on this album. Right, Eric Haydock then. This album came out in July 1966. It came out on the 1st of July 1966. Eric Haydock left or was fired from or whatever, exited. He exited from the Hollies in July. So a quick picture of this is I'm calling this Bernie Calvert's first ever publicity photograph. I want to get him to sign this if I can. I hope I succeed in that. I would love Bernie Calvert to sign this. They're in Scandinavia here. Eric Haydock was still the official member, but he didn't go on this tour, and Bernie Calvert stepped in. So he got a phone call. He's working in a factory, and he goes, come and do this tour. And then as far as he was concerned, he then went back home and worked at the factory, and then Eric came back. And then, so this was a bit earlier. I don't know when, was this June, was it? Was it May or June they did this? They'd already made Bus Stop, which Bernie Calvert played on, but Eric Haydock came back and mimed on TV with him. And here, one thing I love about these photos is a lot of footage got destroyed. Top of the Pop still exists. You see Alan and Graham both wearing matching t-shirts, both with matching Fender guitars, and both playing a guitar, which is interesting. But here's I don't think they're doing I Can't Let Go in this photograph. It looks like, this is Ready Steady, yeah, RSG, I can see the cameras. Them on Ready Steady Go, and it's signed by Eric Haydock and Alan Clark. Another one of my treasures here, my absolute treasures. I love this thing. I was so glad when I picked this up. Rediffusion, yeah. So I think they're doing Bus Stop in this clip. I can't see what chords they're playing, but it could be I Can't Let Go, couldn't it? It could be. But I'm going to say it's Bus Stop, because I know Eric did a few clips. So it's really interesting to see when that emerged. So that was lost for decades, and then it came back, someone found it. And they posted it on some Hollies fan sites. So we're all going two things. We're doing loads of things. Like, number one, oh my God, this thing survives. This clip of them that's been lost. So that. And then number two, wait, look at that thing in the background, that swirly Catherine wheel light bulb thing. That means the Beatles doing Paperback Writer, because that had the same backdrop. Maybe that exists too. And then of course it turns out, yes it is. 3, Alan Clark singing a different vocal. Yeah, the vocal mix is different. So either he's miming to a different mix or he's singing a live vocal. Number 4 was, as I mentioned, Alan playing a guitar. And number 5, people are going, wait a second, Eric Haydock's in this. How come that's Eric and not Bernie Calvert? So if you were a Hollies fan in 1966, you would have been thinking exactly the same thing. You'd have been turning up to their gigs, you'd have been watching them on TV, you'd have been reading them in pop magazines going, hang on, who's their bass player? Because Eric was like in and he was out and he was not turning up, he was turning up, he was unhappy, he was happy, he was, well, just unhappy. And there's a whole, I don't want to get into the whole story of that, just to say that eventually he was replaced by Bernie Calvert. And Eric, Graham remembers this one. He talks about the Palladium, and he goes, we made our debut at the Palladium in 1966. Well, we have actual film footage that they played the Palladium in 1965, a year earlier, but they went back on it in 1966, and he goes, and Eric didn't turn up. We just had to ask, and they asked Klaus Vormann to step in. And sadly, there's no photo, there's no video, there's no film, there's no evidence, nothing. Klaus Vormann, I would love to have seen that, him with the Hollies. They also made a B-side, Don't Run and Hide it was called. Don't Run and... Does that, hang on, what was that the B-side of? I think that counts in this, not the next album. That's got a really good thing that... Oh, I don't know how it goes. That weird, it's like... That's a great song, and that's John Paul Jones playing the bass on that. They did After the Fox, the Peter Sellers thing, that counts to this album. Oh, that's upside down, that's going to fall off. Jack Bruce is playing that, so you've got Bobby Elliott and Jack Bruce together in the same room on the same recording, and sadly it's just a... Oh, you wish it was some kind of thing, but no, it's not. But that, it doesn't matter. I still love After the Fox. After the Fox is a great song, and it's got Peter Sellers on it. It's got Burt Bacharach on it. And the Hollies did this song in their live show in the 90s, and they used to play the tape of Peter Sellers over it. So that's quite something interesting there. I mean, what was that? It was in a film, wasn't it? So it came out on United Artists. It was a single. I don't know what the B-side was. It was nothing to do with the Hollies. And so yeah, you had Peter Sellers and the Hollies and Burt Bacharach and Jack Bruce all on the same recording. Legendary. That's legendary. Let's check the list. I'm trying to cover as much as I can, as I said to my hairdresser. Right, alright, just going to call these out, right? French language versions of these start from, hang on. The first thing they recorded was January. It was the 13th of, and it was Don't You Even Care, so I've covered that. And then I Can't Let Go it began on the same day. Sadness. Now, Stewball, the French, whoa, did they record the French version before the, Stewball was recorded in 1965, that is mad, in December, so do some of these go back to December then? Yes, Stewball. Did I mention She Gives Me Everything I Want? I think I did. I Can't Get Nowhere With You, I love that song so much, man. I won't do a bit of it, there's footage of me playing that. I love that, man, I love that song. It's such a weird, out-of-date sort of rocket Buddy Holly kind of thing, but it's, I know I talk about the 60s and they're out of date, but I love this song, like. And you got the. And so on. Great, I love that song. I've done it on my Hollies covers album, which that's ready. I should really release that. I think it's ready. Yeah, it's ready. Oh my gosh. I can't go there. I've got a way of my own. Yeah, I talked about that. You in My Arms. I talked about the last time. That people say that you're the lonely one. Don't ever think about changing. Now that wasn't released until the next album, so let's put a pin in that. Talked about If I Needed Someone, Running Through the Night. So yeah, Don't You Even Care, January. So we're into 66 now. Look through it. So yeah, the French version of Look Through Any Window, which they took the 90. Hang on. Is that a new backing track? It says 20th of December here, 1965. And I know that, so what, did they re-record the backing track? Maybe they lost the master, maybe they pressed the single and then erased the master so they needed to re-record it, rather than just put a new vocal on it. I don't know, January 66 was the new vocal. You Know He Did, French version. We're Through, Say To. Yeah, I've definitely talked about these, man, I definitely have. I don't need to. And then we're back, yeah, we're in February now. I Take What I Want, Hard Hard Yeah, Take It. Taste of Honey, now then, taste. So they do a great, I'm going to play it, because it's one of my, I like the Beatles song. It's one that everyone slags off. I like it because it's like 1962 and there's early stuff. And it's like, when I listen to BBC bootlegs of Beatles, every time I hear ring, I go, oh God, A Taste of Honey. And the reason I do that is not because I hate that song, but because 25 versions of that damn song exist. Whereas a bit like Say Mama by Gene Vincent, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow, Darktown Strutter's Ball, Whole Lot of Shaking Going On, High School Confidential, The Locomotion, Twisting in the Streets, Peppermint Twist, unreleased songs, Pinwheel Twist, How High the Moon by Les Paul and Mary Ford. All these things the Beatles did in their set list, which never got recorded. Walk right in, step right down. They did that. They did all these things. The gods of footage and audio have not smiled upon. They have given us 25 versions of A Taste of Honey, but none of all those other songs. And I wish that there were Beatles recordings of these damn things, man. They did them night after night, hundreds of times in the cabin, in Hamburg, around ballrooms and that. Say, Mama, can I go out tonight? Imagine John Lennon singing that. Well, we'll never have it. It never got recorded. Stuart Sutcliffe singing Love Me Tender, and he sang Loving You as well, I think. One's Pete Best sang. He sang a Cliff Richard song. Was it Wild in the Country? He sang that. George did one that dreaming, dum dum da 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 da, dreaming. No, hang on, it wasn't that. Whatever that dream's a dream. Da 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 da. Hang on, that's something else. That's whispering, isn't it? Anyway, never mind. All those things. So I think I'll Taste of Honey, but I like it because the Beatles did that song on television. There's no footage of it, so it's a dream of mine, a holy grail of mine. That turns up. We have audio of it, we've got photographs of it, but we don't have the video or the film of it. So even though it's the one I'm sick of hearing, I still hope that, that yet another version turns up, but it just happens to be that version of it. The Hollies version, they're doing Herb Albert's version, but they put words in it, and it sounds like they're playing the wrong chord. Right, I'll do a little bit. The song actually goes, and some honey, then it goes, tasting much sweeter than wine. But the Hollies version goes, tasting much sweeter than wine. Now, I don't know who's playing it wrong, but either way, the Hollies are just copying Herb Albert's version. And Herb Albert does those chords. So he doesn't go wah, wah, wah. He goes, no, he goes wah, 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 wah. And it's also a song where Tony sings, he sings, honey, Alan Clark goes, I'll tell you some honey. And then Tony goes, like, so that's Alan Clark. Tony Hicks goes, honey. And then Graham goes, honey. But I love Tony's note in that, which is missing from the 1968 version, but it's present on the 1966 version. So this means, does this mean that Eric plays the bass on it? Where's the date? He does, yeah, March 1966, that's Eric Haydock. So you've got Bernie and Eric versions of that. Sweet Little 16, I'm a Rock, Take Your Time, That's Her Strong My Lovers, Fifi the Flea, After the Fox, Don't Run and Hide, Bus Stop. I haven't talked about, so Graham Nash has, when there's footage of the song, there's one from 1967, they're in Germany, it's a bit later, and it gets to the solo. And Graham Nash is playing it on a Les Paul, so you've got Tony go like that, but only in half time, right? So how has Graham Nash gone from miming on the guitar, not plugging his guitar in, bashing a guitar that's got no strings in it? How has he gone from that to playing, oh god, it's getting really late, a really good solo, a difficult solo in it? So that's, I'm going to have to rush through this. I've only got this room for 10 more minutes, sadly. I mean, if I do miss anything out, I'll mention it. Here's the magic version of it. It's the same. It's got great bonus tracks in it. Yep, I've mentioned all those things already. That's good. I'm dropping things on the floor. I want to show you this. I've got the original sheet music of Bus Stop, signed by Alan Clark. However, the photo might be a year out of date. This might be a 1965 photo. I'm clearly... Yeah, Bobby's not wearing a hat. Bobby's still... showing the top of his head, so that's probably 1965, that photo. It could be 66. But yeah, signed by Clark. I've got footage. I talked about Graham playing the solo. I've done some live performances. It's about an hour this, an hour 10 maybe. It's you. Okay, we're getting into For Certain Because now, the next album. Stops, Suspicious or Peculiar. Bus Stop. Right. I think I've covered everything. I'll try and wrap this up. But my views on the whole Bernie Calvert, Eric Haydock thing, it's Bernie Calvert was a friend of Bobby's and Tony's, and in a band with them before the Hollies. Well, I was going to say before they even existed, maybe not, but there was a group called the Dolphins. They're in a part of Lancashire, so they're not from, at the point I said Manchester because I wanted to say they're not from Manchester. Manchester's just a thing that people say. Because it's easy. Oh, Beatles are Liverpool, Hollies are Manchester, Rolling Stones are London. But it's not quite as simple as that, you see. The Hollies, none of them were from there. Salford, as Salford people will tell you, and how they will rightly they are right to say this. They say, we are not Manchester, we are our own thing. And of course, Manchester would also say, well, Salford, that's not us, that's that other thing. We're Manchester, that's Salford. And Graham was actually born in Blackpool. His family are from Salford. Eric was from Stockport, and sadly no longer with us. He died in Stockport too. He lived there and he died there, sadly. Bobby, Tony and Bernie, well, Terry Sylvester's a Scouser. Bobby, Tony and Bernie are from Nelson, Cologne, I still can't pronounce it, Cologne, Clitheroe, places like that. Burnley, that kind of, miles and miles away from Manchester, but they would go there because that was like an exotic city, and that's where like nightlife and gigs and stuff was. So, and Bernie I've written this down, man, because he tasted success before the Hollies even existed. He was the first one, what are they called now? And I've got that song, but I've listened to it. Ivan D. Juniors. Was that the name of Ivan D? And the song was called Catch You If I Can. Nothing to do with Dave Clark, it's Catch You If I Can. But it was credited Bern Calvert. Now he was sometimes used the name Bern, so that his real name was Bernard. He never used Bernard, it was always Bernie or Bern. middle name was Bamford with an M or Bamford with an M? I think it was Bam. Yeah, because they call him Bam. Some friends of mine call him Bamf with an M for Mamma Mia. Metallica. Yeah, Metallica. Phew. Ivan D. Jr.'s Catch Me If You Can. It's like a minute 50. It's a really short song. There's a guy who's got a copy on Discogs and he's asking $1,000 for it. This is what I think of you. You guy on Discogs, $1,000. Stuff yourself, mate. You know what I mean? The Hollies are so underrated. No one's going to know. What do you think if it was like Bernie Calvert himself went to a pressing plant, put some plastic in a mould, went like that, and then said, here you go, hand me it, I still would not pay $1,000 for it. You know what I mean? It's like, that's no insult to Bernie. I'd love to. Never met Bernie Calvert. I would love to. He's still with us. He's still well. He's still healthy. He's still musically. He still plays music locally. Bernie Calvert. He has a similar birthday to mine. We're both September, he and I. I'd love to meet Bernie Calvert. Absolutely brilliant guy. But a real cult thing. Like Hollies a cult as it is, and then Bernie Calvert's even really die hard to be sort of interested in even knowing who he is and wanting to meet him and stuff. And this thing, I've heard this thing, it's a nice sort of Mersey beaty kind of thing, and Bernie wrote it. There's photos of Bernie with a microphone, so could he have been a singer as well? I mentioned Klaus, the other bass players. I didn't want to say this, I'm going to drop the bombshell. I've said this in the comments already. I don't like Ron Richards. Sorry, I just had to leave this. Sorry, I said it. I don't like Ron Richards, don't like him. I think he was wrong, the Beatles were blessed with George Martin. I hate all this fifth Beatle rubbish and crap, and I hate constantly talking about Beatles all the time, but I use them because they're a handy thing that people have heard of to talk about and to use as an example. You can understand that language, Beatle language, and they were blessed with George. The Hollies were not blessed with Ron Richards. Whenever the Beatles go, oh, can we try this? Can we do this? We got this idea. George Martin would, like Fraser Crane, I'm listening. And he'd go, yeah, we can do that. Yeah, we could, like Neil Buchanan. Yeah, of course we can. Of course we can. You know, Sammy Davis Jr. Yes, I can. Ron Richards, every time the Hollies would go, oh God, like slowly tiptoe, oh, please, Ron, we've got the, he'd go, no, you're the Hollies, know your place. You can't do this. Stick to your this, stick to your that. And I just hear story after story about this, and the biggest problem I have with Ron Richards, and the reason why I dislike him so much, is because he slags off Bernie Calvert. There is evidence of Ron Richards, this guy who's meant to be a big hotshot producer who knows about music, and he thinks that Bernie Calvert is a terrible bass player because he can't play the bass. I'd like to see Ron Richards play the bass line to Taste of Honey and do or replicate note for note exactly what Eric Haydock does on Too Much Monkey Business without even looking at the fretboard. And he's not even a bass player. Bernie Calvert is an organist, he's a piano player. So I'm just thinking it's interesting that, so before he was even in the Hollies, Bernie Calvert was, he already tasted success. He joined a band, wrote a song for them, got a record deal, and had a record released with his name, not Ransford or anything, or Chesterman, but Bernie Calvert credited on the record label. So he was a big deal to have in the group. And I think you've got to remember that if you're going to be in a band with Tony Hicks and Bobby Elliott, you have got to be not just good, you have got to be phenomenal, and Bernie Calvert was. It's just that the pop music and the kind of things the Hollies were writing happened to change the moment Bernie Calvert joined the group. There is some crossover, there's live recordings of them in Sweden and stuff where they're still doing some of the Eric Haydock stuff, and there's BBC recordings too. Bernie Calvert has to learn note for note, like I Can't Let Go and stuff, and he does a good job, he mimics almost exactly what Eric Haydock is playing on those records. He was absolutely brilliant, he was the perfect guy for the group. I'm still gutted, I'm really gutted that Eric, I have a whole story about how I nearly sort of got to meet him and have him sign stuff, and then when he died it was just, the Hollies were still a live club, and Eric, I'm not putting him down. I'm completely gutted that he's no longer with us, and I wish he still was, and I wish I got to meet him and all. I have this whole thing about him, I need to talk about it properly. It gets me down, Eric Haydock not being with us anymore, so I'm not slagging him off. I wish there was a way they could have worked out being a six-piece and had Eric Haydock on bass and Bernie Calvert on piano and organ. That would have been amazing. And quickly say a big pet hate of mine is later band members signing, like Billy Adamson signing Surge's records. I think it's disrespectful, it's wrong. The reason why I don't mind Bernie being on things like this is because of his history with them. He was the guy, like from even before they were the Hollies, and one by one the Dolphins eventually joined the Hollies, and it was like a mutiny. They kind of took over it. There's a whole controversy there with our, but we're not going to get into all that. I mean, I had this thing worked out, and I'm going to say it all garbled now. I'm looking at that clock. I've got less than 5 minutes, but I've got to get out of here. I have a complete set of Beatles records from the time they came out. Obviously, I'm not old enough to have got them all, and I imagine my rule with them is I don't care about the Matrix or Dick James or Northern Songs, the Please Please Me, whatever. All I care about is that what it looked like the day it came out. As long as my Please Please Me is the gold label, I don't care which gold label, just gold label. And it is. I've got that, and I love it. It's one of my treasures in my collection. But some of them, like my copy of Hey Jude is Canadian, and my copy of Magical Mystery Tour is Australian. So I told myself, well, if I'm a guy around in the 60s, I was on holiday in Australia when Magical Mystery Tour came out. I was on holiday in Canada when Hey Jude came out. So it's similar to this. So this is what I tell myself with this copy. It's signed by 5 Hollies, 5 original classic members of the Hollies, 5 60s members of the Hollies. It's 1966. Imagine you're like, hey, my favourite group are the Hollies. It's 1966. You go, oh, they've got a new album out. I'm going to go and buy that. So you go down the shop, you buy this. Would you believe this copy? This is an original. It's got the flipbacks on it. It's got the correct serial number, all of it. Made by Jarden Lofthouse. The Matrix, the yellow parlophone label. It's correct for July 1966. This is what you would have got. And then you would have gone, hey, I want to go and see them live. Let's check the listings. You check the local listings. When are the Hollies playing? Well, I can't make that. I can't. Oh, that's near me. I'll go and see that. The next time you go and see I'll go and see the Hollies. And then you think, oh, I'm going to take this record and I'm going to try and get to meet them and get all 5 of them to sign it. If all those things happened, right, you're following me so far, then there is 100%, there's every chance, okay, maybe not 100, but there is every possible chance, it's far likelier that you would have gone to see the Hollies and Bernie Calvert, not Eric Haydock, would have been playing the bass, and he is who would have signed this album, would you believe? That's why I don't mind the fact that it's an Eric Haydock album, but it's signed by Bernie Calvert. I hope to still find a copy, maybe the BGO label. He did some tours in Australia, and some things have come up. And I just hope I find a copy where just Eric, on his own, has signed that album. Same with Holly 65 as well. I think I'm going to wrap that up, people. Have I got everything? I've said everything. That's it, Hollies. Would you believe? Thanks all of you for watching this. I've got 25 seconds left. I'm not gonna. I've played music. You can hear. I can play the guitar. I don't need to prove it. Yeah, that's everything. Join me soon. My guest will be from the legendary group The Family Way. Richard Fairclough will be co-presenting their next album. Oh God, I forgot. No, I didn't. Whatever it is, I'll say in another episode. For certain, because that'll be the next one. That's 1 hour 14 and a half. Sorry for the wait. Thanks so much for this. I hate people who say like and subscribe. That's stupid. It's a waste of time. Only who likes the Hollies? And I have enough people listening. I'd like to thank you all, and I hope I spoke to you all personally, and I hope to see your comments again. You know, the people who do like this already, you know the score. Hollies are like a connoisseur thing. I hope one day more and more people like them. But I also hope I can still get. I hope I don't. Well, that parallelogram thing. When he made that video, suddenly copies of Evolution started getting really expensive, and I thought, I'm glad I got mine then, you know. So I don't want that to happen, but I also hope people get into the Hollies more. And yeah, man, long way to continue. Would you believe? See you in episode 5. Thanks, everyone.